I'm Matt.
I'm Shane, and you are about to listen to an excerpt from a Comic Movie Marks podcast.
So if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that like button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks. And always remember,
if Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it. All right, now we're going to get into our discussion about ScreenCrush, the YouTube channel he came out with recently with a Batman versus Superman versus Civil War.
Speaking of reactionary.
Yes, we're going to be very reactionary.
Yes.
This was actually our very first episode. This is what kicked off the Comic Movie Marks podcast, was the inability for us to understand how so many people could love Civil War, but somehow Batman versus Superman be so hated.
Yes, and this was, mind you, after the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
It got even more mind-blowing after the Ultimate Edition came out.
It just never made sense to us. At best, they were equal, like that, to us. I mean, it's with the theatrical cut anyway.
Yeah.
They were both very equal. I think at the time, I gave them both the same score.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you did. I think your exact word was, they are the same movie, or your exact phrase.
One, for the most part, they're both roughly the same movie. If you go to our podcast with Nick, where we broke down movies of 2016, and we go through a whole list, and I broke this down with Nick. I had a huge sheet that I printed out of all the different things that these movies are so close together when it comes to it, just from basic characters, from characters being royalty from special islands and somewhere off with Black Panther and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a all-American motherfucker in red, white, and blue. There's a rich guy in a metal suit. It's so forth. It just keeps going on. Literally the biggest difference was one was during the day and one was at night.
Yeah.
That was what I said. But one had a little bit more tone to it and a little bit more overall arcing storyline to it. A deeper, in my opinion, storyline than more surface level, like
simplistic.
The reason why I had a big problem with Civil War is what caused that whole Civil War in the beginning.
Yes.
Was and I brought this up was that when they're showing them the video of all the destruction that happened throughout the Avenger movies and Captain America movie and stuff like that, I cannot remember exact number, but if you tally up the total deaths that they show, they have the numbers on there, it's less than 300.
Right.
It's less than 300 people. And I made the joke then, I'll make it now. Man of Steel would kill for those type of numbers. Because, no one listens to our old podcast, so no one's heard that joke.
Exactly.
So it's fresh and new.
And we're revisiting it.
And it would kill. It wasn't, they never took the previous story serious. 300 people, billions of dollars in damages, which I can understand being a little pissed off about that. But they were literally saving millions and millions of people. It just didn't seem like that whole fucking storyline even needed that. They either needed to change the numbers or some other reason.
Right.
There needed to be some other reason for this divide.
Even, I guess, just to play devil's advocate, well, actually not really play devil's advocate, but even if they were to change the numbers, I still don't think it would have been as impactful. Yeah, maybe a little bit. It would have made a little bit more sense of like, okay, this is really why you need to be reined in. But again, they're trying not to step on any toes and make it too gruesome of like, no, you killed a shit ton of people. It's more of, oh no, you didn't kill that many, but we still need you to be reined in. And then you have the billionaire. One of the things that I struggled with, and the comic book is sort of similar. You have the one guy who's military, who's a soldier, and then the other guy who's privatized, and he's a billionaire or whatever.
Playboy philanthropist.
Yeah, philanthropist. Yeah, yeah, that. So,
you went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
You have those two guys, and they almost like played the wrong
opposite
roles.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that the privatized side of it should be like, no, you're not gonna. No government should be involved in. No, it's in this. He's always been, and it's not as bad in the comic, at least not as prevalent in the movie. It bugged me. Yeah, and so that was another thing. One of the biggest things, the whole point of trying to make Captain America's Civil War instead of Avengers 2.5 or whatever, essentially that it was Bucky. That character, I don't remember too much of Winter Soldier. Hopefully we'll do another review, and and I'll remember a little bit more of it. But as far as Bucky,
well, that's nice of you. We'll do a review. I'll do my best to try to remember.
Yeah, exactly. for the show, all for the show. But the character of Bucky drove me fucking crazy in this, and how Captain America was reacting. People gave Superman shit in Batman v Superman of
that was the other one.
Of how he was reacting, and what was
well, he reacts to the name Martha,
right?
But then Captain America reacts to the name Bucky,
right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
and this was my whole thing about that was just like these writers all executed the same story. There was an explosion that happened in Africa that caused the red guy in red, white, and blue to get pissy. Right. The ScreenCrush guy breaks all this down.
Yeah,
and
he does a good job.
He does a great job of pulling out these examples and getting the tone right for the most part. But it's just amazing where all of a sudden people this is where people's opinions come in, and they don't realize that it's an opinion necessarily. They becomes the answer, not the opinion.
Right.
And that was my biggest problem with this. And I guess that's what it is. We're all doing opinions and stuff, but to say that this is the reason why the movie failed is just kind of like, well, closed-minded.
Yeah.
It's like you're not thinking above the basic level shit that Civil War gave you. Like he even talks about it's a street fight. Well, yeah, most people can somewhat understand a street fight. But what happens with Batman versus Superman is the connection and the reason why these characters are moving forward is a much bigger scale.
Right.
And that's what Civil War lacks in is bigger scale. Even though those Avenger movies were big at scale, by those numbers and all the other crap they try to pull, it makes it so small.
Yeah. Well, and it's essentially the fight happens because Bucky was under control, killed the Starks, and Captain America kept it from him. That's between that menage a trois going on right there.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It's not about shit. I need to protect the world. This is everything that I've done before doesn't fucking matter because what has happened now is this is going to be the biggest thing I do. I need to stop this alien. You saw what happened in Metropolis. Like that to me that is a reason to move forward.
You're gonna go to war. That son of a bitch brought the war to us 2 years ago. Jesus, Alfred, count the dead. Thousands of people. What's next? Millions. He has the power to wipe out the entire human race, and if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Yeah, between those characters, it just always bugged me, that airport scene. Even though we've always agreed with this, and every time we seem to talk to people, they always bring up the same thing that we talk about. The airport scene, well, we say the airport scene is not that great, but every time we talk to somebody, like, what's so great about the airport scene, they always bring up the same things that we say, Ant-Man and Spider-Man.
Right. The comedy.
And that's it. And that's it. And like,
the comedy, the quips. Yeah.
But the thing is like you have a cast of characters that have no fucking tying into any of this shit. Like they're just there blindly following the guy in front of them. Yeah. It's
and sort of kind of punching each other and,
holding back.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nick made fun of the civilians quote in Justice League when Superman's like civilians. And because he said it was, and I brought it up too as pandering to people. It was. But so does Civil War, where he's talking about like all of a sudden this airport is just completely evacuated.
Yeah, that's true.
Because both franchises have done this.
Right.
So all of a sudden now this airport, this massive airport in Germany is just evacuated.
Yeah.
It just
so we're good. Now we can have this not even really that big of a fight.
I mean, the people that could make it a fight, like Vision and Scarlet Witch and everything, they're off to the side while everybody flies around throwing pea shooters at each other.
Yeah, and then, people they kind of nitpick. Even ScreenCrush was nitpicking, well, this whole thing could have been stopped if Superman would have, floated above Batman and just told him everything right there instead of actually dropping down and getting into a face-to-face confrontation. Well, Vision could have easily stopped. Like, the whole thing with the airport scene was more of like trying to apprehend Bucky and Captain America.
It was a game of capture the flag.
Right, yeah.
Who could get to the little plane first?
Exactly. And then Vision, though, he's supposed to be this, powerful Infinity Stone. Like, he could have ended it right there. But no, they kind of push him off to the side and just for the sake of...
I'm going to knock the tower down to stop their close their area so they can't run anymore.
Right.
Not stop them.
Right. Exactly.
That's the problem. That's the thing. That's why it doesn't feel like Civil War. It feels like civil argument.
Yeah.
Because they're doing everything just to impede each other's motion. Like that's it. It's not to actually end a conflict. It's just to calm a conflict.
Right.
And it's just like, we don't want to hurt each other now. And so that was always our big issue with it. In the ScreenCrush video, he talks about how there's no personal relationship there's no personal reason why Batman and Superman should be fighting in this. And he's talking about how certain characters should be the ones that there was no personal characters to Batman that died in the Metropolis scene. Like, oh, one guy gets his lace crushed. Who the hell is this guy? That guy that was on the phone,
right?
Peter or whatever the hell his name was. Who are these guys? And I just thought that was a complete disconnect thing, that you need somebody in a movie that is personally tied into the person. The fact that there's just mass amounts of death can't just make you feel motivated,
right? Inspired,
yeah.
Like joining the military or something like that.
Little bit of a taboo thing, but I mean, not necessarily taboo, but it's like saying that the people in 9/11, like, I don't know anybody that was there, but so I just don't care now?
Right.
No, you still care. That's a huge thing.
Exactly. And you go, oh shit, like, and people join the military for that exact reason of like, I want to do something. Right. I want to help my country. And that's the thing that is most frustrating that I still see in comments and on YouTube channels that people are failing to understand is how far and how similar this Batman is, but also how different. And they just push it all aside. Even Kevin Smith, I just listened to his Justice League breakdown recently, and he talks about, oh, I wish Batman wasn't all killy. He's one of my favorite characters, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if you would, out of anyone, if he's your favorite character, favorite superhero, you would be able to understand this is Batman pushed even further because Robin's died, and so that's why he's
how many good people were left.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Alfred drops the newspaper. Have the changing the rules or something like that? No,
it's a crack in the psyche,
right?
And
he's been pushed so far, and finally now he sees something like, this is gonna be the biggest thing that I ever do. Criminals are like weeds. You pluck one out, another one pops up in its place. This is going to be the biggest thing I do. I need to. So it is Batman to the core, but it's so changed, and he needed to go through all this stuff, and it's exactly why Justice League failed to us in the way that it did, is because we didn't get to see even him come full circle.
Right.
But this is a hero that is going, no, I need to step up. I'm inspired, and I can do this. I can take down this Kryptonian, this alien, from destroying our entire world. It just blows me away that people, even someone like Kevin Smith, who loved Man of Steel and loves the character of Batman, cannot see that. Oh, he's all killy. That's exactly the word that he used.
It's
like,
just,
holy shit.
Well, I'll get into this later with our later review here, but the nostalgia thing is like, it has to follow some kind of linear thing that you have a perspective of. It's like the character can't evolve, the character can't change in some manner, the story can't change. It has to follow this linear line that you have perceived. And as I get older, my perspective changes, but for some reason, I guess with others, maybe it doesn't change. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have had nostalgia things where I don't like the new version of something. Like, just a quick small example, I watched Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. There was the voice actors, the English voice actors that I really liked. And then I heard now they've redubbed it and remastered it in HD, and I hear the new voices. I hate them. Mm-hmm. They sound stupid. They don't sound right at all. I don't like them. I really don't like them at all. So, but that doesn't really change the story of it. I can get over that. It's just voices,
Right.
And it doesn't change the old version. I can still go back and watch the old version of the dub. If they change anything of later on, who cares? But you can still go watch the old version. If you like that old version, go watch the Keaton one. If you want to go see it, go see it.
Christopher Reeves. If you watch that one, or fuck, they gave you another one in 2006, so you can watch that one too.
Fuck, it's there. It's all there.
My small anecdote with in regards to even Superman was Smallville. When that show first came out, I watched the first episode, and then I think maybe I watched the first 3. And from the comics that I had read at that point when that show had came out, I was like, no, this is not how it goes down. This is not how he learns these powers. Blah blah blah. Then I decided to go back to it, and it's a CW show. It has its cheesy moments, but I went into it with an open mind of like, okay, they're just telling the same story a little bit differently. He's gonna get his powers a little bit differently than you may not be used to, and that's all that Snyder has done. And I feel like eventually we were gonna get the characters that everyone is used to. But
to an extent, but I still would think with that Snyder feel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think what we got in Justice League is what Well, I guess that's what some people wanted, because now he's the most comic accurate Superman.
Yeah, there's air quotes with that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can tell the sarcasm in my voice.
Yeah, that's what I had to add that just in case. But I feel like we would have gotten closer. But what Snyder was establishing was a reason of why they are here. Why they got to this point, why the Justice League needed to be formed. And he even says it in interviews. If there was a Superman, why would the Justice League need to be there?
Right.
You had to kill him in order for the Justice League to happen.
And which I've seen some people actually come out and say that just shows how much he hates Superman, because he wanted to kill him so bad.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say that.
Damn it.
I was like,
damn people. Yeah.
Wow.
One of the things, just to, I guess, give a positive side to Civil War, one of the things that the ScreenCrush guy mentions was Zemo's motives. And I can totally understand how people can relate to Zemo as a villain, why he would have those motives, and why he would want to take down Civil War. Why would he want to take down the Avengers?
We want to take down Civil War.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's so simplistic. Is why
we've never even met his family.
Right.
It's just like a voicemail that he plays over and over again.
Yeah. It just, but I guess because it's so simplistic, that's what resonates to everyone else. And then he makes it actually is a pretty funny joke that Lex Luthor is just this Daffy Duck kind of thing, and he has no real motive. And he in the ScreenCrush video, he talks about there's somewhat of a motive. He just has a problem that he doesn't have the choice, obviously, if there's this God. And that's ultimately what it's about, that everyone is misunderstanding and not they again, going back to being spoon-fed. And I get it, I guess, to an extent. So that's the one of the biggest positives I'll give Civil War is that's a moment where you're like, okay, I can understand that. I get that. I get why he would want to take down the Avengers. And but it just doesn't discredit what Eisenberg has done.
Again, I'm going to just take away from Cinema Sins here a little bit. Really, if Zemo didn't need to go through all that, all he had to do was email him that video. Email Tony Stark that video, and it was same results would have happened.
True.
He wouldn't have had to gone to some Siberian fucking place,
right?
And shit like that. It would have been a lot easier. He wouldn't have had to go through a lot if he just would have emailed or just send that shit.
Yeah.
But Tony Stank, the FedEx guy, show up. It would have ended that movie a lot faster, and he wouldn't have had to kill so many people.
Yes, exactly.
But again, that ScreenCrush guy, he goes into this thing, and this is the big thing. The Martha scene, I will say, is not the most perfectly executed scene of all time. There is no Batman vs Superman is a great movie, but there is still flaws.
Yeah,
I get Jesse Eisenberg's motivations. Really love the God complex idea of it all. I really do it, but his performance is a little Daffy Duck. That is that whole thing.
Yeah,
it is a little it does take a little bit off of it a little, because it's not quite what you're used to, and you don't really see much from this guy, but he does have his moments, like when the pictures and Superman is kneeling down on his knees and he puts his hand over him. It's like, It's just control. It's just awesome to see this normal dude
power,
with real control over a superhuman being,
right.
a god, pretty much. And it's just crazy shit like that. It's just those little ticks. I think if they would have taken out some of those ticks a little bit, that didn't really quite add that much to the character. I think that would have helped a little.
I think what he was going for, and this is just kind of how I interpreted this version of Lex Luthor Jr., by the way. I feel like he was shooting for kind of, how everyone bitches about the millennials. It's the millennials. And the millennials are all stuck in their phones and they don't know how to communicate. I feel like he was amplifying that to
Silicon Valley type guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And able to talk to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have someone who runs this company that has to speak in front of people, but is that person. He's a genius, but he can't really talk in front of people. I can agree, and I even laughed at the joke that the ScreenCrush guy did. What he is kind of like Daffy Duck. Mm-hmm. And it probably was a little overboard. That's just how I interpreted it. And I thought that maybe that would resonate with some people because they would hate him even more. I'm like, fuck, he's just annoying.
They hated him.
Yeah.
But I don't think in a good way.
No, not in the way that you're supposed to, I guess.
But his it doesn't take anything away from his motivation story.
Right.
I still love the motivations. The Martha scene may not greatest executed thing of all time.
I've seen some great YouTube edits that people have done of kind of, they add very small things of the Joker's laugh or these things that when Batman is coming to the realization of who Superman is, they edit it a little bit differently. In the actual movie, it's obviously, it flashes back to the beginning of the movie. And with like his parents dying and stuff like that, but they add a little bit more to it. There's 100 of them. I got stuck in this fucking loop.
In this rabbit hole loop.
Yeah, exactly. The YouTube rabbit hole of people re-editing it, but they do a great job, and maybe that would have helped. Kind of showing him snap out of it a little bit more. Who knows? I agree. Maybe it's not the most cohesive. I understood it and I didn't have a problem with it.
Well, the thing is that it's PTSD. It's a traumatic thing. This dude is fucked up in his brain right now. It's messed up. His parents dying, all the crap he's been through.
Which we've established throughout the whole fucking movie.
Right. And it's a trigger. It's a trigger in his brain where his brain, I don't know, maybe people never had this. Maybe people never really dealt with some traumatic issues. I don't know. But, your brain works in different ways, especially when you hear certain things. Yeah. And it's just basically a trigger. It's not like, oh, we have the same mom's name, we're best friends. That's not it. It's not him. It's a little bit of him realizing that this guy is normal, but it's more of a trigger. It's like he has become what he's been fighting against, which was what Alfred has been explaining to him the entire movie. It's been leading up to this. It's been leading up to this, and he just realizes, yes, is just blurting out Martha a little stupid. Yes. Is the way Bruce says or Batman says, no Marthas are going to die tonight, a little stupid.
Yeah. Is the way Lois Lane runs up. No, it's his mother's name. It's his mother. Yeah, it's a little stupid.
It's not the best, but it basically still has the fundamentals of traumatic stress syndrome. It's still there. It's what happens with people that are unstable.
Maybe I would assume, I don't have PTSD for anything, thank God, or thank Superman, thank Lord Snyder, whoever you believe in. But some people, if there's a certain scent, if there's a certain sound,
you and I have brothers that have been that are in the military. My brother's retired. Your brother's still in the military. Yeah, and I'm sure you've heard some of the same stories I've heard for the most part on things what can trigger.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. And I have seen certain things too.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why it's more relatable for us to see what someone can do.
That's a good point.
Like that.
Right. Someone's brain.
Yeah, just by seeing somebody or hearing a certain thing, or like you even said, smelling a certain thing, or even seeing a building, like a certain building, like it's just crazy what can set some people off.
A truck. Or like it's weird, and these can be normal. These are normal people with they are sober at in my experiences. They all of a sudden are triggered at the drop of a hat of like fucks something just triggers them, and we've seen it. So that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I just in watching it, I would assume anyone could be able to relate to a scent or a sound or something. They bring, even if that's the nostalgia. You remember the first time, whatever, fucking popcorn was popping in the movie you saw, or, shit like that. And
your first blowjob.
Exactly.
So when you smell that scent of bleach.
Do you have to edit that out of YouTube?
Hell no.
Fuck no.
I have a picture of a chick sucking dick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be a very tiny white dick, just to be comic accurate.
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe it's not the best scene in the world, but it makes sense to us.
Yeah, maybe that's the situation. So the ScreenCrush guy just basically says that's where the movie falls apart. It becomes super silly, and because Marvel doesn't take themselves serious, it's okay for them to have these wacko moments or something like that. And I was just like, well, isn't that pretty telling about the series, about the universe in general? That why would you take anything serious in this? Why does Civil War even matter at this point when he just talks about how they don't take themselves serious? It really makes it feel like, why take the universe serious?
Right. Because maybe that's what people want, though. They want the jokes. When Asgard's blowing up, they want the next one-liner.
Spoiler.
Oh, shit. When Krypton's blowing up. Spoiler.
Well, we came out only 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
5 years ago.
Krypton's blown up quite a few times.
Yeah. Styrofoam.
If you're familiar with... Yeah, exactly.
Tinfoil, whatever.
Tinfoil suits, yeah.
Awesome. Good times. Check out the ScreenCrush. They did a video on Batman vs. Superman versus Civil War. You'll understand what we're talking about. But we kind of want to revisit that because that was our first episode.
It was.
And it was atrocious.
It was.
But it had good
Don't
points
listen
in
to
it.
it. Yes.
It had good points, but it is just structured, sounds like shit, structured like shit, and just shit.
It is. It is just shit. If you want to get a good laugh.
But there is some good points in there.
Fuck. Yeah.
There is some good points in there. And even that discussion we had with Nick about Civil War and Batman versus
We got a little bit better. Not
a little bit.
Yeah.
Nick helped us out.
And now we're just a little bit better from that.
Yeah,
so you can
smidge.
only imagine.
We're up to blowjob jokes now. Definitely moving up the high classes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's perfect. Check those out.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. You know, all these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.